So this week we're going to be looking at Surya Namaskara or Sun Salutation, just a very basic form to start with, so that maybe over the weeks we can add a little bit into that. You can maybe learn to personalise it yourself at home and make a routine that's really lovely to repeat daily, a routine that you're so familiar with you hardly need to think about it. That's the real beauty of learning a little bit of flow work in yoga. The fact that you can switch off the mind, just focus on those lovely long deep breaths, and just practice a little bit of mindfulness, just drifting off, allowing the muscle memory to guide you through. So if that sounds all something very new to you, don't worry, we're going to start, as I say, from the basics and go through nice and slowly. I like to do a little bit of flow work in my classes, as those of you that come will know, but I feel that it's really important that you know the postures that you're adding into the flow before you do them. There's no point throwing yourself from one position to another without that sense of the alignment, of looking after your body, making sure that how you're working is suitable for your body. So, before we start, we're just going to come to sit today. I think we'll start sitting rather than lying down, so just making sure you're comfortable. So I'm sat cross-legged here, but you can have the legs extended if you like. You can have a little bit of support underneath the knees. Just doing what you need to do to be able to sit tall and at the same time relax. So if you need to be next to a wall to start with, if you need to take your first few breaths leaning against the wall, that's absolutely fine as well. So being comfortable so that you can close the eyes or soften the gaze ahead of you if you'd rather, but being able to bring your consciousness inside your body, so you're really switching off from what's going on in the outside world, just becoming aware of yourself, of how you're feeling, maybe of what you're hoping to get out of this class, maybe setting an intention of practice, to be kind to yourself, maybe not to expect too much, to just work with a smile. So just relaxing those shoulders back and down. So it may be helpful to just take the palms to face the ceiling, so you can just rotate all the way up the arms into the shoulder socket and feel those shoulder blades just descending down the back, either side of the spine, and as they do, just lift a little into the front of the chest, enabling yourself to sit a little bit taller, activating those erector spinal muscles that keep us upright. Check that the neck is nice and long, so maybe the chin is very slightly tucking under. Relax the jaw, soften the face. So maybe one of the nice things about not being at class for you is maybe you can be a little bit noisier, a little bit freer with that breath. So take a lovely big deep breath in now and let that go. Once more, inhaling and just letting any stress just leave the body with a bit of a sigh and deep exhale. And finding that lift through the sides of the body and working the obliques. Possibly finding a little more height, and then relaxing the shoulders back and down. We slowly open the eyes, just keeping the gaze soft. We're going to take the hands either side. So inhaling, stretching all the way up, nice big deep breath in. And as you exhale, just relaxing slowly back down to the floor. Inhaling and exhaling. Once more in your own time. Nice big stretch up, just beginning to waken the body and releasing down. So if you have been sitting against the wall, just moving yourself away now, because we're going to come into a twist and we need a little bit of space around the body. So finding those sitting bones, possibly sitting on the edge of a block or a brick, just to give you that slight lift. We're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to take that left hand behind, right hand across the left thigh, and exhale to turn. So you can use the arm against that front leg for a little bit of leverage. But take it easy, we've only just started the class, so don't push yourself to maximum yet. Inhale, back to centre, and exhale the opposite side. So find that lift, find that height, and then come into your twist. You can look over the back shoulder if you're comfortable too. Just warming up the spine. And inhale back to centre. We're gently going to bring the knees in and just change the cross of the legs. And repeat once more to each side. So left hand going behind, right hand coming across, lifting to inhale and sit tall. Exhale to turn. Just softening into the posture. Inhale back to centre and sweeping round to the opposite side. 3 breaths there. Keep that back arm straight, keep the spine lifted. You draw the abdomen in to push the exhale out. And coming back to centre. So slowly bringing those knees in together. Coming over onto your side and just coming up to standing. So our Sun Salutation starts with Tadasana, or mountain pose. So just coming to stand on your mat, anywhere on your mat to start with. We're not going to move straight into the flow, we're just going to look at this first posture. So it doesn't look the most difficult of postures, does it? You're standing, you stand all the time, but there is an awful lot going on in Tadasana, and all our postures, if you think about it, whatever you go to do in yoga, all comes from Tadasana, from your mountain pose, from that standing starting block, our foundations. So focusing on the feet, first of all, just spreading the toes, becoming aware of the soles of the feet, lifting the inner arches, and beginning to activate all the way up the legs. So it's a sensation really of that spiralling round, that opening through the thighs, that lifting of the quadriceps all the way up into the groin. So we're switching on, we're drawing up, we're tucking under, we're tucking that tailbone under a little bit. So particularly if you're a little more flexible, or you know you've got quite a sway back like myself, it would naturally stand like that. I want to work on squeezing that under. And as soon as I tuck under, I can feel those abdominal muscles working through to support the muscles in the lower back. They're working together, suddenly they're switched on, and that's really important for all our postures. So little tuck under, we're lifting through the sternum, just as we did when we were sitting. To lengthen the spine, we're relaxing the shoulders back and down. And just drawing into the fingers, particularly if you know that you're a bit of a shoulder breather, so you used to lifting the rib cage up and down as you breathe with the shoulders. Just stretch into the fingertips a little bit to keep those shoulders releasing down. Lots of space around the neck. And we're just lifting the body into that mountain-like pose. Nothing is going to push you over. You're so secure into the ground, you're so sure of your position. Although you're still, there's a real strength in that stillness. Everything is activated. So just once more, quickly checking through from the feet to the legs, to that tuck under, to that lift of the chest, to that releasing of the shoulders. And then just soften the face, relax the jaw, maybe even allowing yourself a little smile. And a couple of nice big deep breaths in. So as you inhale, noticing the body lifting and opening. And as you exhale, squeeze the abdominal muscles back towards the spine to release that breath out fully. Inhale, just feel that breath come flooding back in. So a couple more deep breaths in your own time. So feel everything working, everything activated, and then just soften and relax for a moment. So hopefully you kind of feel a bit as you let go there, because that shows you are really working. You know, anyone could just stand there like a tin soldier, but to really think about activating all those different parts of the body takes quite a lot of A, concentration, and B, sort of physical muscle power, even though you're not moving. So we're going to bring a little bit of movement into it now. So when we do our Sun Salutation, we're working from the front of the mat down, so that when we're lunging, we're taking the leg back, and when we're coming forward, we're coming back to the front of the mat. The more postures you add in, the more kind of important that becomes, because obviously you don't want to be working your way across the room. Talking of the room, make sure that you have enough room either side to take your arms wide and enough room ahead of you for when we come into our full bend. Okay, so unless you are particularly tall, normally the length of your mat is absolutely fine. You know, you won't be going back past there. So if you've been able to lay your mat on the floor, there's enough space behind you. Okay, so we're going to adapt all the postures that we do to suit your body. Okay, so something that might be easy for my body may need some variation for your body, and vice versa. There's lots of things that I can't do that other people in my class are, you know, bodies are just made for. Okay, so it's all about adapting to make it safe and comfortable for you, because the safer and the more comfortable you are, the more you'll actually be able to work into the posture and improve with time. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is from moving from mountain pose into a forward bend. So just watching me for a moment. So I'm going to start with my hands. It's a nice way to start in Namaste in front of the heart. I'm going to inhale and just come into a little bit of a back bend. You don't have to overdo that. So we're breathing in, and then as I'm exhaling, I'm sweeping all the way down to a forward bend. Now, hamstrings are my okay part of the body, all right? You'll see lots of other bits that don't work so well, but my hamstrings are lovely and loose. So I find it very easy to come down to a forward bend. But if that's not you, then as you come over, if you keep your legs straight, you might find that you come to here and then you're just hanging like so. So there's nothing wrong with being higher up, but what we don't want is that nasty arch through the back, that rounding of the back and the shoulders. So if you bend your knees as you come forward, you will at least be able to straighten the back, even if you can't go down all the way. Now if you've got bricks, excuse me, bricks and blocks, you can take them in front of you and have them as high as you need to make it comfortable when you come over with the knees bent. Or bending the knees even more so you can take the fingertips to the floor would be the ideal for what we're moving into next. Okay, so we're just going to come and hang in our forward bend for a moment, and then we're going to inhale those arms wide, push into the soles of the feet as we come all the way up, and exhale to the heart. So standing tall in Tadasana, just finding the breath, finding that activation through the body, up through the legs, tailbone tucking slightly under, shoulders rolling back and down. Then we're going to bring the hands in Namaste. We're going to take a lovely big deep breath in. Exhale. And then inhale those arms wide and up. Lovely stretch all the way up to the sky. And then as you exhale, it's as if you're diving into a beautiful pool, coming down into your full bend. So as you come over, you've possibly bent the knees, making the modification that you need to, so you get a nice straight back, soften the neck, and just taking a couple of breaths there. Being aware of the soles of the feet, pushing them into the floor, keep the knees bent, and then as you inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale to the heart. Inhale and exhale there. And then next time you're ready to breathe in, we're going to sweep those arms wide and up. Exhale, coming all the way over. Fingertips to the floor or onto your blocks if you needed. Relaxing the back of the neck. Just softening there. Ready to come up, we're pushing through the soles of the feet. Inhale, arms wide, lifting, and exhale to the heart. And just release for a moment. So as we go through our Sun Salutation, you will notice that the movements are done with the breath. For the moment, if you're a complete beginner to this in particular, I would much rather you just kept breathing. So there will be certain points where you hear me say, and breathe in and breathe out, or inhale and exhale. And, if you can do it on those breaths, that's fantastic. But what I don't want you to do is hold the breath at any point. So if you need to take a few extra breaths, particularly if I start talking and explaining something, then please do, okay? So we're going to add on to that now. So we're going to just watch me for a moment. We're going to be taking our moment to settle the body in Tadasana. Then we're going to inhale the arms wide and up. We're going to exhale, bending those knees if you need to, all the way down, fingertips to the floor. So we're not going to use our blocks now. We're going to just take the fingertips to the floor, bending the knees as much as you need to do that. And then after one breath, we're going to inhale and just lift and stretch the body forward. Okay, so I'm lifting the sternum, I'm lengthening the spine, I'm exhaling, coming down, and I'm inhaling to come up. And we're going to come straight back over for another stretch. Okay, so just listening to what I'm saying and you'll be fine. Remembering to take those extra breaths if you need to. So, palms together. Lift the sternum, lift the chest towards the thumbs. Relax the shoulders back and down. Just tuck that tailbone very slightly under. Feel tall and strong. So with an in-breath, we're stretching all the way up. As we exhale, we're pouring ourselves over. As we inhale, we're lifting the chest forward. Exhale, coming back down. Inhale, taking the arms wide and up. And exhale, coming over. So Uttanasana, our forward bend. Ardha Uttanasana, our halfway forward bend. Back into Uttanasana, our forward bend. Inhale, the arms wide and up. And over once again. So as you exhale, coming over, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen that chest forward. Exhale, back down. Inhale, arms wide and up once more. Exhale, floating all the way down. Inhale, lengthening forward. Exhaling, softening into that forward bend. Now you might be coming a little further now, you're warming up. Inhale, the arms wide and up. And let's exhale to heart. Lovely, well done. So just coming down to your mat for a moment, just take the knees wide, bottom back to the heels. And just softening down for a moment. Just take a few breaths. And then slowly coming up and maybe just sitting comfortably for a moment so that you can see me. So the next posture that we're going to work into from that starting position of our forward bending is downward dog. So I think it's important to just have a look at dog first of all, so that when we come into it, we know what we're looking for. So just coming to sit on your heels, so just coming to kneel back as I am here. And I want you to slide the hands forward, taking the little fingers right to the edge of your mat. So it's that width we're looking at first. So we don't want to come up in our dog and have our hands so close that we're all narrow through the shoulders. So little fingers out towards the edge of your mat. And then we're just going to tuck the toes under and bring the forearms to the floor. So I'm pushing my bottom back towards the heels, my forearms are on the floor, my fingers are spread and my palms are pushing into the ground, as well as the very tips of my fingers. So it's really important, just as we work with the feet, that we work with those foundations of the hands in our downward dog. So we're going to use the legs to push us up. So we're going to take the forearms off the floor. This little exercise has hopefully given you the correct distance for you. And then we're just going to take the weight back and roll over the feet a little bit to bring those knees up. Okay? So this can be really strong into the feet for some people. It's a really good one to keep that flexibility into the feet. And then we're going to inhale, exhale, opening all the way up. So just having the feet hip distance apart, just comfortable for you. And have a little bend in the knees. So exactly the same thing applies here with that relationship between the back and the hamstrings. So if you've come into your dog and your weight is all the way forward into your arms and your shoulders, and you can feel that you've got quite a scoop going on into the back there, you need to bend the knees more so you can straighten off. So push into the hands, and we're looking for a nice straight line from hands all the way up the arms to the hips. If you're able to straighten the legs, then that's great. Just working the heels towards the floor. They don't have to come to the floor, but you're just working in that direction. Working the chest back towards the thighs. Keep those shoulders rolling out. And then slowly, if you haven't done so already, we're going to bring the knees to the floor. Okay, so if you're not so familiar with dog, do practice that a few times. Do maybe listen to that little section of the video a few times just to get it right for you, because you don't want to be stepping back and it just be, all over the place. Okay, so we want to keep our postures good, even though we're flowing one to the next. So, we're going to come to the front of our mat. We're going to repeat what we've just done, and then we're going to step back into dog. So, if I show you for a moment, we'll start with our hands together, and then we're going to inhale, the arms widen up. Exhale into our Uttanasana. Inhale, that little stretch forward. Ardha Uttanasana, back into Uttanasana. Now instead of coming up now, we're going to take our fingertips to the floor. So even if you need to really bend the knees to do that, we want to have that engagement with the hands and the floor, because then we're going to step our right foot all the way back. Now you can see how I'm really making myself take a long lunge there, okay? Because if you step to here and then take your foot back, it's going to be in a very short dog, yeah? So you've got to be brave, got to step that foot right back there, and then taking the hands fully onto the floor if they weren't already, we're stepping back with the other foot. So we're in our downward dog. Okay, so we're going to work through that together. And when we've got to that point, we're just going to drop the knees to the floor and come back to the front. Okay, before we carry on with the next bit. So just settling the breath, finding your Tadasana, getting to know which bits you need to keep an eye on. Maybe it's the shoulders, maybe it's working those inner thighs out or that tailbone under. Or maybe it's just letting go of tension in your jaw. So starting with the hands, palms together in Namaste in front of the chest. When you're ready to inhale, we're taking the arms wide and up. We're exhaling all the way down into Uttanasana. Bending the knees if you need to. Inhale, lift the chest forward. Exhale, softening down. So making that connection with the floor, even if you really need to bend those knees too. And then we're taking that right foot, bending at the knee, just bring the foot up to start with, don't rush, and then extending it behind. So you've made contact with the back of the mat, with the toes. And then we're taking the other foot back to join it. So again, in your downward dog, just bending the knees if you need to straighten off the back. Don't be afraid to move and adjust in a posture. Roll the shoulders out. And a few deep breaths. So downward dog, you need to work a little bit harder on the breath. One more breath there if you can. And the next time you exhale, just slowly coming down with the knees. Sitting back for a moment and then we'll do the other side. So that first time we stepped back, didn't we, with the right foot. This time we're going to step back with the left. So finding Tadasana, mountain pose. Hands in prayer position. Inhaling and exhaling. And then inhale those arms wide and up. A little bit of a back bend. Exhaling all the way over. Inhale. Lengthening forward, shoulders rolling back to the hips. Exhale, back down to your full bend. That's that left leg. So we're coming up on the toes, slightly bending the knee. Taking that weight, you are through that right leg, aren't you? So be prepared for that as you lift the left foot off the floor and take it all the way back. So we've come into a lunge there. We can take a nice breath in. And as you exhale, right foot coming back to meet the left. Finding the dog position that's correct and comfortable for you. Make sure you're working the hands, rolling the shoulders open. Nice big deep breaths. Adho Mukha. Down dog. And then slowly bringing the knees to the floor. Take the knees wide, big toes together. Exhale. And soften down for a moment. And slowly coming up. So just sitting comfortably for a moment. So once we've found ourselves back in our downward dog, Adho Mukha, we're taking 3 nice big deep breaths here. So whereas the other postures flowing through that we've done have kind of been based roughly on 1 breath per movement, we get a little bit of a break here. We get 3 breaths in the same position. But then we need to find a way of coming back to the front of the mat. And this is where it can become a little bit tricky. So you'll see this happening, Vinyasana. You'll see people coming into their plank, Chaturanga Dandasana, coming all the way down, scooping through to an up dog and a down dog, before they then step back to the front of the mat. Now, we're running out. I don't want to make these sessions too long and I want to keep them quite simple. So in the next session we do, we'll have a look at that middle section, that Vinyasana section, and I'll show you some ways to make it a little softer, a little kinder, so that you can build up maybe to doing that variation, but there's some other variations before we get there. So today we just have to think about how to swing our leg back from downward dog to the front of the mat. So after our 3 breaths, we're going to lift our leg and extend it away. So watch out for that front opposite elbow wanting to bend as we bring the weight over onto that side. Keep both arms straight. We're going to take a lovely big deep breath in and a bit of momentum here as we exhale and bring that foot forward. So I'll just show you that on the other side because I definitely move my front hand to get my leg through. So I'm taking the weight onto that right side more. Inhaling, exhaling, bringing the leg through. My hand just shifts momentarily, okay? So I've come back into a lunge. Now I know in class that when we do this, for a lot of people, it's there, okay? And there's a big gap, and as I said at the beginning of the class, it's really important to finish at the front of the mat, okay? Otherwise you're going back all the time. So if this is you, you're just going to lift the foot forward to the front of the mat. And then stepping forward, back into our Uttanasana. Inhale, arms wide and up. And exhaling. Okay? So we're swinging that leg through to come back, to bring us back to the front of the mat. Now once we're back here, we're ready to start another side, aren't we? So we're going to work right leg or right side. Ending with the arms up, we're going to come straight over for that left side. Okay, so there's 2 sides to each round, if you like. So settling the breath, just need to settle mine a little bit. Activating the toes, the inner arches, working up through the thighs, tailbone tucking under, lifting and opening the chest, opening the heart. So I'm going to talk you through with the breath. Again, don't forget, if you need to just pause, take an extra breath or 2 in a position, do. You don't have to crack this all today, first go. Be kind to yourself. So starting with the hands in prayer position in front of the chest. We're going to inhale, take the arms wide and up. A little bit of a back bend. Exhale, diving all the way forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, coming halfway, extending, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, coming down, ready to take that right foot back. So bend both knees a little bit. Find that weight, find that balance as you step back. Take a breath in. In your lunge, exhale, opposite leg back to joining. 3 breaths in dog. Then we're going to take that right leg away behind just for a moment, just to help with that momentum, so that we can exhale, bring it all the way to the front of the mat. So picking it up and dragging it there if you need to. And then we're going to exhale the other foot in. And on an inhale, coming all the way up, ready for the opposite side. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, relax into that full bend. Ready for the left leg, taking it all the way back. Take a breath in that lunge. Exhale the right foot back to the left. And make all your adjustments. So you've got 3 breaths here to roll the shoulders, to check the knees are bent enough to straighten the back, to work the chest through to the thighs. Then we're going to take the left foot away behind. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, bring it all the way forward. Inhaling. Exhale to the front of the mat. Inhale, arms widen up. Exhale to the heart. So that's one round for us today. Keeping it really, really simple. But if we can get those first few simple postures done correctly and getting used to working with the breath, then adding little bits in little by little will hopefully feel really comfortable for you, and you can be mindful of your positioning, again working with the breath, etc. So it's something that's doing you good rather than just throwing yourself up and down the mat, making various shapes. Okay? So if you're happy to do, I'll lead you through one more round and then I can leave you with the video, and obviously you can repeat as much as you can. If you were able to do this, say 3 times, so 3 rounds, so that's 6 times altogether. If you could do 3 rounds every morning, you know, by the time I see you next week to add in, you'll have really got it cracked. And you'll find that you don't have to think about it so much, which is the great thing, as I was explaining at the beginning of the class. A bit like learning a dance, your body starts to do it without you having to concentrate quite so much. And then of course we'll add in. So, standing in Tadasana, finding that mountain within. Hands in prayer position, relax the shoulders back and down. Engaging all the bits that need to be engaged. Breath in and out, and when you're ready to breathe in, beautiful sweep up with the arms and extending, extending, extending as you come all the way down. Inhale, lengthening forward. Exhale, softening back. Fingertips to the floor. So we're ready to take that right foot all the way behind. We're in our lunge. We're taking a breath in here. And then we're exhaling all the way back into downward dog. Adho Mukha. Noticing how this changes the breath. And then we're going to take the right leg away. Exhale all the way to the front of the mat. Inhale there. Exhale the other foot forward. Inhale all the way up. Other side. Exhale, coming over. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to soften down. Inhaling, exhaling, we're taking that leg all the way back. Inhaling your lunge and exhale. Right foot back to meet the left now. 3 big deep breaths in the dog position that suits you. So remember, be kind, keep those knees bent to get a better position if you need to. Now we're extending away with that left leg. Big breath in as you exhale, bring it all the way to the front of the mat, dragging it there if you need to. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, stepping forward into that forward bend. Inhale. And exhale to the heart. And just allow the breath to settle there. Relax the shoulders, soften the face. So time to come down to relax. So just gathering any blankets, any blocks, but not any socks or jumpers should you need. Just getting yourself ready to relax. So if you don't want to lie down, you don't have to lie in Shavasana to relax at the end of the class. You can, as I suggested earlier, you can sit up against a wall to have that sort of support. Or if you're comfortable just sitting, you can sit. It's just about being able to bring your focus inwards to sort of really relax and let yourself just be aware of the breath. So if you're having to think about sitting, having to be in any position that you're not particularly comfortable in, and for you that might be lying down, then it's not going to work for you. So choosing a way to relax that's comfortable and accessible for your body. So making sure that you're warm. If you're comfortable too, closing the eyes, just because that does help obviously shut out physically the world. But if not, just softening the gaze, just bowing the head a little bit, maybe softening the gaze in front of you. So become really unaware of what you're looking at. You're not interacting with anything. You're simply becoming your breath, noticing your breath. And you're not trying to change that either. So just notice that flow of breath in and out. We've worked with some very particular breaths today, haven't we? It's been breathe in now, breathe out now. It's been important to work with a long, deep breath because we've needed all that extra oxygen to feed the muscles that we've needed in our postures. But now you can just really soften and relax the breath. And at the same time, softening, relaxing the mind. Seeing if you can just stay in this moment. So if the mind does wander off, just bringing it back to the breath. Just relax the face, soften the neck and the shoulders. Notice if you're holding on anywhere. You can direct softening to that place, a sense of letting go. So there's no judgments. Maybe you can't release today, maybe your mind is all a jumble. If that's the case, just accepting that's just how it is. No pressure. And maybe just starting, take a longer, deeper breath in. Noticing how that breath feels. So I'm just going to read you something written by Aristotle. It seems particularly poignant at the moment. The most important relationship we can all have is the one that you have with yourself. The most important journey you can take is the one of self-discovery. To know yourself, you must spend time with yourself. You must not be afraid to be alone. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So just taking a moment to think about his words. Thinking about the relationship you have with yourself. Maybe there's ways you could be a little kinder to yourself this coming week, a little less judgmental. With that in mind, just taking a few nice big deep breaths, starting to move the fingers and the toes maybe. A little stretch wherever you are. And then very slowly, if you're not sitting already, just bringing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. So maybe using a block or a blanket. Finding those sitting bones, sitting tall, relaxing the shoulders back and down. So we're just going to take 3 nice big deep breaths together. Namaste. Peace and love to you all.